Good morning, and welcome to Unity on the Mountain. We have lots of special guests here today, of the furry kind, of the little kind, and of the spiritual kind. So we're glad to have all of y'all here. Right? Isn't that awesome? And go ahead and stand up. We're going to open up our song with our new song of the month, Let Go and Let God. This is our opening song for the month of August. Just waiting on the words, and they'll be up to this. Oh, here we go. All right, ready? Some days I do, some days I don't, some days I will, some days I won't, some days I sing, some days I float, some days I get real smart and live by this quote. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. Let go and let God be in charge and let my worries go. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. Let go and let God be in charge and let my worries go. Some days I'm up, some days I'm down, some days I smile, some days I frown, some days I work, some days I play, some days I get real smart. Here's what I say. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. Let go and let God be in charge and let my worries go. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. Let go and let God be in charge and let my worries go. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. Let go and let God be in charge and let my worries go. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. Let go and let God be in charge and let my worries go. And let my worries go. And let my worries go. Woo! Say good morning to your fellow neighbor. Say good morning.
Three daughters. I forgot the baby.
Nice to meet you. So nice to meet you. We us together in unity and love. We us together. We us together, together in love. And we're going to go ahead and take a moment to honor, have a seat. We're going to take a moment and honor all the August birthday babies. Do we have any August birthday babies in the house? Oh, yeah! So if there's anybody that you hold in your heart, either here or transition, and want to celebrate, and three August babies. And so we will hold all of y'all in special light and sing happy birthday to the August babies. Happy birthday. There you go.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wonderful to have you here at Unity Church on the Mountain. And let us say together our opening statement, which can be found in the bulletin and hopefully on the wall. Hopefully. There we are. There is only one presence and one power in my life and the universe. God the good. This is our Christ candle, which represents that sweet, divine essence within each and every one of us. Let us affirm together our vision and mission statement. Centered in God, we inspire spiritual transformation, creating a world of love, peace, and prosperity. We are an inclusive spiritual community, inspiring, awakening, and serving in love. Now we come to my favorite part of the service. Children's blessing. And guess who we have? Yay. And let us honor all the special babies and children in our lives and in the world. And let's not forget our inner child. Keep him or her very, very healthy and happy by saying, we love you, we bless you, we hold Christ in you. We accept you just the way you are. Walk in beauty, you are divine.
He's got something to say, he just can't quite say it. He'll get there. Oh, we're going to go ahead and sing. Well, you were going to sing. He was trying to tell us, let's sing another song. We're going to go ahead and sing Magic Penny 2 times through. It's in your red book. If you want to follow along there, it's page 170, or song number 179. The words will also be. So go ahead and stand up. Here we go. 179. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Let it spend it and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Let it spend it and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. You end up having more. You end up having more. And will an attendant please bring forward the prayer box?
We bring this forward to remind ourselves that prayer is at the center of our spiritual understanding, that prayer is that connection to the divine, to the all that is. And so we open our hearts to the prayers that have been written down. Somebody took a piece of paper and wrote them out and placed them in this box to remind them that, yes, I'm holding this person, this situation. And many of us have prayers we have not written down. They are there. They are in our heart. And we are reminded that all is in the divine hands as we allow. So we open ourselves. We allow. We let go. We let God. We let that divine energy move in and through us. Move in and through each situation. And we say, thank you, God, for divine order, for healing what needs to be healed. And we get ourselves out of the way and allow love, joy, peace, and healing to happen. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend. Now, LaTanya will read Daily Word.
The daily word for today is encourage others. I allow divine love to flow through me to bless others. When I pray for others, I affirm that divine love is guiding their way. I give them the blessing of my presence, companionship, love, and support as they discern their own way. In her poem, Child of Light, former Daily Word editor Marcus Smock wrote, I see you as a child of light. I see you guided and corrected by an inward spirit that leads you unerringly into the path that is right for you. With absolute faith, I join my heart with the hearts of those I support, bringing our energies together in a spirit of cooperation and compassion encourages feelings of goodness, optimism, courage, and strength. The encouragement I extend to others is an expression of divine love working through me to bless them. And the scripture is, for where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. Matthew 18:20.
Thank you, LaTanya. Let us all prepare ourselves to say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
And move even deeper into that place of oneness and care. Just breathe. Inspire. I am inspired by the oneness, by the allness, by my connectedness of my understanding to divine energy, to divine love. I am inspired. And as I breathe out, expire, I let go. I let go of all that which is not serving me in this moment. I let go of that which has not served me in a while. And yet, I hang on. So as I breathe in, realizing that breathing in encourages that light to shine into those places of stuckness, of darkness, letting the light shine, letting it move around, feel that light shining around till all of a sudden, I am the light. I am the light. You are the light of the world, our master teacher tells us. Who, having this light, sets it upon a hill and then covers it over. So we are uncovering, both for ourselves and for those whom we are among. Let our light shine. Let us be the people who our friends come up and say, what is it? What is it that you have? I see your light. Let us know that light and love for those who are in darkness. Oh Spirit, there are so many around the world. So many of our friends are caught up in this darkness. Let us know in this moment. Let us support them. Let us see the light in them, and let us see the light in the situations. Healing what needs to be healed. We have no idea. Spirit, we are a cell in the body of God. However, we are a cell in the body of God. And we know and experience. And as we move in to that time of silence and connectedness, we become aware that we are the body of God in the silence. In the silence. Let us gently bring our consciousness, bringing that connectedness, that awareness of the connectedness. This is who we are. It is always there. We make that close connection by letting our mind be quiet. However, it is there. It is there when we are in traffic. It is there wherever we are. We hold this understanding. And in this understanding, we bring any thoughts of prayer, any requests, any concerns, any desires, any things that we are holding up and saying, yes, Spirit, be the energy that moves me in this direction. Be the energy that allows me to be that creative energy. Be that life. Be that joy in my awareness as we move forward. And in our understanding, we say, thank you, God, for we are participating in making it so. And so it is. Amen.
Now, it is with great pleasure that I introduce Reverend Dr. Wanda Gail.
morning.
Good morning.
From my heart to your heart, I'm so glad you're here. It's going to be a little different today. I'm going to invite you to take a journey with me. And that journey is to go way under those things that we believe, and then maybe way beyond some of them. So this is kind of unusual because usually we speak new thought stuff when we come together. And there'll be some of that. But there's been a passion in me since I was a little girl. I'm already getting choked up. This is going to be good. And today I hope that we can move beyond some of those little girl and little boy experiences to find a new path. I have a teacher that says we take the road our ancestors paved and we lay it out in front of us and we walk on it into the future. But that road is an old road. I want to walk a new road, and I'm going to invite you to walk a new road too. Now, I know all of you've probably done some of the same healing work that I have over the years, and yet what I find is no matter how much I heal, there's still more. There's still more, and there's still more. So there's never an end. So if you would bear with me today and indulge me a little bit, I want to start by telling you a story of when, well, some of you may recognize the date. November 22nd, 1963. Who remembers that date? Lots of people. I was a junior in high school. Our principal called an assembly. And that meant everybody in the whole school. Now, this was a little school in rural Alabama, so everybody in the whole school was from 1st grade to 12, and there still wasn't probably 200 of us. To give you a little idea, my class was 17 people who graduated from high school. So it was a very small community. There were a lot of beliefs that we had that we didn't know we had, that we didn't know were any different from anybody else. But on this day, November 22nd, 1963, when the announcement was made that President Kennedy had been killed, most of the kids clapped and cheered.
Oh, wow.
They didn't understand what they were clapping and cheering for, really, I don't think. I would like to give them that anyway. But that's when I began to realize that I didn't really understand what was going on, but I could not understand why they were cheering and clapping. Now, I had to fast forward many years to go back and understand a little bit, and I can't explain everything, but there was a strong prejudice against Catholics in our community. We were in a segregated South. We had 6 churches. 2 of them were black congregation Protestant, and 4 of them were white congregation Protestant. Every one of them hated Catholics that I was aware of. Now, I can't speak for all of them, of course, but that's the overall scenario. So, at that point, I began to realize I needed to leave that little community to find a new way, to pave a new road. It's been a long road, and here we are today, and I won't dwell too much on it. But that is to say, I held a belief that Catholics were bad because that was the culture in which I grew up. I had no experience about it. I had no real knowledge about it. It was just a culture that I was born into. And of course, the blacks and whites were separated, so I didn't know firsthand, really, any black people. I knew who they were, some, because we would interface, my family would interface on occasion. But I really didn't know that I had all these prejudices inside me. So, now I've got to fast forward to a few years ago, I was working with Leadership Huntsville with a program in the schools called No Place for Hate. And in that program, I came across a lot of materials because this program was designed to address bullying. And there are many, many reasons for bullying. But I came across some information that helped me get a better grasp on what was really going on in the communities of our nation. Now, I know all of you are aware of the unrest and the chaos and the this and the that that's going on around us. And I know all of you probably, like me, are asking, well, what can I do? What can I do? Well, today I hope to give you something you can do. All of us can do. Reverend Carol and I went to a public town meeting that was intended for more race relation understanding in our community. And while I was sitting there, I knew a few people in the crowd, but most of them I did not know. And what I heard, just listening to the people around me, now I'm talking what I figure are mainstream people, they're saying, I'm the one who has to change. I have to look inside of me and see what I need to do. And I was very pleased to hear that. I'm also very uncomfortable looking in here sometimes and seeing what's really in here and what am I going to do about it. Because it's not a comfortable journey to expose my own biases and prejudices. So in the No Place for Hate, could I have the slide, the No Place for Hate, the hate violence pyramid, please? Now I'm going to hope that you can see a little bit.
Nope.
The bottom layer of the pyramid
No way.
is where I wanted to focus today because I think that's probably where most of us are. But the idea, and it's behind the flowers, I'm not going to move everything. But the arrow that's going up starts with bias, goes to prejudice, and then goes to violence. And I know that most of us don't realize that that is what happens to a lot of people, that they start out with just pure, simple biases that they don't even know they have many times, and then it grows. And as it grows, you get stronger. So the next level up is prejudice and bigotry, which is what my friend Delois was going to address today, and if she makes it, she will, and if she doesn't, she won't. So I'm sorry, I didn't think about calling her again until yesterday, and I didn't have a phone number for her at home, which is my fault. But anyway, so you're going to get half the program today. So what I would like is, I can't see that very well, so I'm going to hold my paper up. I would like for you to help me identify what a stereotype is. Just tell me one thing that you are aware of that's a stereotype that you maybe grew up with and maybe you discarded it.
Names.
I'm sorry?
Placing names.
Names?
Instead of saying they're Spanish, they may be called up, excuse
Ah,
me, Spanish person.
Calling a race or a culture
Race
an
names.
unnice name.
Right.
Not very nice name. Yeah, thank you. How about jokes at the expense of others? How many of you have ever heard a Pollock joke? And do we really know Polish? When we tell those jokes, do we know any Polish people? I didn't when I first started hearing them. I've met a few. They're very nice. They don't fit the stereotype of joking people at all. Rumors. I was telling my daughter on the phone yesterday what I was going to talk about a little bit today. I said, you know, gossip is something that no Christian ever wants to admit they have, they indulge in. She said, yeah, people like to hear people talk smack about other people. And I thought, wow, I'm way out of touch with the younger generation, I guess. But really, isn't it the truth that when somebody's talking about somebody else, that's okay? But we don't generally step in and say, excuse me, but I really don't want to hear this, because we sound uppity or whatever our little own biases are about ourselves. And then one of the things that I think a lot of New Thought people are guilty of, and I'm going to hold up my hand, I have been guilty of it in the past, is justifying our biases by hanging out with like-minded people. If we don't ever meet other people that are not in our little families, then how do we know what's really in here? And have you ever been in a place that you suddenly got uncomfortable and you didn't really know why? Maybe there was some biases kicking in and you didn't tune into them, because I've done that many times. And then, screening out positive information. Now, I'm not going to go into politics, but if you listen to politics, the rhetoric that's going on, people don't hear anything except what they believe. They are not open to hearing what they do not believe. Whether it's positive or negative, they just are not open to hearing. And I'm saying they like I'm not one. I am. I'm a people too. I like to hear the things I like to hear to reinforce my beliefs. But here's the thing. We all have beliefs. We all have biases. We all have prejudices. We are all human beings. Do you agree with me that we are one humanity from one source?
Yes.
That just about sums it up for me. I need to be inside me, digging out stuff that's not healthy and letting it go, and then I can love you and 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 all of you. But I can't love fully until I do the work in here. That's my belief. So far I've collected a lot of evidence to say that's a true belief. And then insensitive remarks and non-inclusive language. Now, I don't know a lot of you actually, but I can tell you that I have experienced what I consider reverse prejudice. I worked in a facility in Birmingham where the majority of the staff was of another color. They called me whitey, not necessarily to my face intentionally, but they had a language, they had a code that they spoke in code so that they knew what they were saying. And unfortunately, I was in a position of authority, so they weren't going to let me in on the code. So it was a very challenging job for me. There didn't seem to be a way to get to the what I call the real troopers of the organization that were really doing the hard work. They were the ones who needed the most support, but I didn't know how because they wouldn't relate with me. So I came up with an idea. Okay, we sat everybody down. I said, here's what we're going to do from this day forward. You're going to call me Miss Campbell, and I'm going to call you Mr. or Mrs. whoever your name is on your name tag. We're not going to do this, you call me Miss Campbell, and I call you by your first name, which was the pattern in that facility by all of the administrative staff, most of which were white people. So there had been a pattern established. So what we have to do is look at our patterns, look at our habits, and question them. When's the last time I questioned myself about what I really believe about another person? And have we ever tried the Byron Katie approach of, is that true? Is it true, or is it just that I believe it? And maybe I have good evidence to believe it, but that was yesterday. We're not going to go that road. Let's pave a new road. One of my teachers also says, if you can wake up in the mornings and you can greet this day as a new person, and even your spouse that you know so well, you can greet that person as a new person. See who they are today, because all of us are shifting and changing moment to moment to moment to moment. That's when we pave the new road. That's how we widen the road. And some of us may want to keep that paved road, but just widen it, please. That's what I feel like I have done. Once I kind of worked through my stuff about the little community where I grew up, I had to go back. I didn't have to go back. I chose to go back and mend my fences and mend some relationships, and I made a choice. And my choice was, I'm just going to love them just the way they are. Not going to ask them to change. They still don't call me Wanda Gail. They call me by my middle name, which was their pattern as I was a child. And that's okay, because I'm going to love them just the way they are, no matter what they call me. And I finally said that to my sister one time. She was a little concerned that my soul was not going to end up where her soul was going to end up. Because she heard that I had, back in the 90s, joined Unity Church. So we had to have the conversation. And I said, you know, I'm really happy that the Southern Baptist tradition works in your world. Because that world is a contained world. They don't venture very far out of their little world. And they reinforce each other's beliefs and prejudices and biases day in and day out and day in and day out. And some of my family still use words that make me cringe and shudder. And I love them anyway, because that's the only thing I know to do. I have to change me and just love them anyway. So I had a couple of examples that I wanted to share about. One of the things that came up, and I even have to admit this, Reverend Carol, that night that I went with you to the Oakwood University campus, I had never heard of Crips and Bloods. I heard there were Los Angeles gangs, but I had never heard of Crips and Bloods. Well, how interesting that the next night or two on the news, they showed two young men who were putting together a culinary effort. One of them had been a dropout in culinary school. And they had decided that they were going to join forces, one from the Crips and one from the Bloods, and they were going to make a new road, and they were going to start making really good, wholesome food for people. And they showed them doing this in their little, tiny little kitchen that they had. And what they did was they used technology, and they would put the word out on Twitter and Facebook or wherever, and then they would say, if you want any of whatever they're cooking today, if you want any of these, put your order in and we'll cook it and come by and pick it up in whatever many minutes. And now it has grown, and the neighborhoods are expanding together more, and they want to now open a real restaurant in a real big city somewhere. So from 4 decades of killing each other, things are shifting and changing, and they're building a new road. So could we do any less with our little puny biases? Could we just build a new road? The prejudices, I don't really want to go too far into those. I was hoping Dolores had some great tools. I was hoping she would be able to use them. But if you can't probably see, but those two layers are called non-criminal on the pyramid. The next one up is civil, which is where a lot of our civil rights history has been. And then on up to criminal, and then up to war crimes. And if you look at the descriptions under each of those, you can kind of begin to see that many of us step into things and we don't even know what we're stepping into, just because we haven't examined. So my invitation to you is start asking questions. I went to a meeting on Friday where there was a group of people questioning their beliefs, their religion, their religious beliefs. And so at the end of the meeting, they came around and they said everybody got a chance to say something. And when it was my turn, I said, I'm so happy that you guys are asking the questions. And I saw one person just kind of, he did not like the questions. And he said, well, I think I need to know why you're so happy that we're asking questions. And I said, because that's the only way we root out the things that don't work in our world. That's the only way we can shift and change the old habits and the old patterns and become somebody new and different and happy. I want to be somebody I can love all the time. I don't want to be somebody that when I look in the mirror, I think, oh my gosh, did I really say that? Because I was insensitive or unaware, or because I had lived an unquestioned life. So one of my questions that I have to ask myself regularly is, when I hear my thoughts that I believe something, well, where did I get that belief? Did I get that belief in Sunday school? A lot of them I did, to be totally honest. I don't have them anymore. Did I get that belief from my parents? I was appalled to find out that my children, when they became adults and they began to share, they knew things that I never said. How did they know? They lived with me. They knew because they lived with me. And it's not healthy to act as if those things don't exist. Maybe a school teacher. Maybe it's somebody we admired. You know, we could go way into a lot of different arenas, but all I'm asking of you today is ask yourself and connect with your spirit. Do I have a bias? Do I have a prejudice that I want to change? And what I will do is sit in meditation with those ideas and ask my spirit. And sometimes it's a long time coming. The whole thing with Catholicism, it took me until 2008 to publicly admit that I had a prejudice about Catholics. By then, I had a lot of Catholic friends. I had a lot of respect for a lot of Catholics. But it wasn't until I went to Lourdes, France, and I went with it on a tour, and they were all Catholics, and they wondered why I was there. I said, I don't know. God said for me to come. Spirit told me to come, so I'm just here. But what I began to realize is they were doing their Catholic rituals I had resistance. I didn't want to do that. That was uncomfortable for me. That was unpleasant for me. So I worked through a lot during that period of time, but when I came back to Alabama, I thought, you know, there's something I can do. I can create a hometown pilgrimage that lets people go and get to know people of other traditions if they want to, and they can begin to see. So I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to ask Reverend Carol, when you went to the mosque,
Yes.
what did you get that was so important for you during that pilgrimage?
Welcome,
Yes?
absolute welcome, and awareness that here is a faith that prays very differently from what I do, but when I join them, because when you're in the prayer process in the mosque, as you are able, you are down on your knees with your head on the floor, and body position makes a difference. And to be aware of that, and once I let go of, what am I doing down here, on the floor, that is a posture of submission, and it was very powerful. So not only am I in my mind in submission, I realized, okay, what my body does has an effect, and it was very, very powerful. And they have amazing food.
That they cook themselves.
Yes.
So, place after place after place, we had those kind of epiphanies from a variety of people in a variety of traditions who are beginning to realize we're all climbing the same mountain to God. If you want to call it the mountain, it's a big, wonderful metaphor that a lot of people use. We're taking different routes. Some of us are going more laterally than horizontally, but that's okay because we're all still on the same mountain. Can we just acknowledge that and recognize that? So in preparation for this talk, I've been sitting a lot with my own beliefs and prejudices and just noticing what I think. So yesterday, I was pretty shocked when I went out for my morning walk and I saw a young man who had cut off pants. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, by the way. And he's wandering the streets, the same streets that I'm walking. I say he's wandering because he didn't seem to have a purposeful place that he was going. But he just happened to be a black young man. And I found myself asking myself, do I want to, he was walking this way when I was going that way, and I thought, do I want to continue to go that way? Is there danger here? And then I stepped back and I listened to my thoughts and I said, wait a minute. I have no reason to fear this young man. He didn't even speak to me. He didn't even notice me. What's my fear? And you know what it was? When I got underneath it all, it really was that he was dirty and unkempt, and that he probably didn't have a place to sleep the night before. And I was feeling guilty because I had a place to sleep the night before. And there may be more to it than that, but I realize I have some biases about homeless people. And I still need to work with that. And maybe he was homeless, maybe he wasn't. Maybe I drew a conclusion that wasn't even accurate because I didn't even have a conversation with him. But that's what I'm talking about you have to do the work for you and listen to your thoughts if you want to shift and change and notice your patterns. And just ask yourself the questions. What is that? Where did I get that? Do I want to keep that? Is this something I want to live with? I don't want to live with prejudices and biases. I don't want to meet somebody and have an immediate opinion about them because I heard something somewhere. I talked with a young Muslim woman one time, actually she's a teenager, and she said what she wanted most in the whole world was for people to look her in the eye and then judge her, not by the dress that she wore, the headdress that she wore. Now that's not a lot to ask, is it? That we just get to know people one-to-one, face-to-face, person-to-person. Then if we don't like them, maybe it's valid. Goodness, maybe legitimate. But if I'm holding these unconscious things and I'm not doing anything to do my inner work, all this chaos and unrest on the planet is never going to go away. So Reverend Carol and I went to another forum on race relations, and I got just a great gem out of that. And I don't know if I can do it justice by trying to repeat it, but Robin Cox, who works for the city of Huntsville, had a lot to say. And one of the stories that she told was about living in England. And this is how she came to her epiphany, that it's really not always a black-white issue, because she had dinner with her black friends in England and it was not a big deal. But she couldn't have dinner with her Asian friends because they were not accepted in restaurants. Now this was several years ago. It may not be true anymore. But do you see what she was saying is, wherever we are in the majority, we tend to have biases about people who are in the minority. It doesn't even matter what the minority is. And we tend to get our heads in a place that we can't open our minds to, maybe we're wrong. Maybe there's another possibility that we can follow through with. So I began to look at that, and then I could think back over, I had a assistant director of nursing who worked with me one time, and he was a beautiful black man. He had the most amazing gifts, and we became really good friends. And we were talking one day about racial problems, and he looked me in the eye and he said, I just want to ask you, have you ever been anywhere that you were in the minority? And I had to step back, because what I heard him say underneath that was, you don't understand. And I think he had a good point. But I could reflect back to 1980. This happened in 1986. But back in 1980, I went to Saudi Arabia. When I stepped off the plane, there were machine gun line guards on both sides of the place where we disembarked, and we could not vary one step from walking straight into the terminal out of the plane. When I dared look up a little bit, there was this big observation deck. This was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. There was this big observation deck, and there were lots of men of color with their, what do you call their? Turbans? No, they weren't turbans. It's that red and white checkered thing that they wear. I can't remember what you call it now. But anyway, they were sitting there like this. They were not happy to have us white people walk in on their land. That's exactly how I felt. And then I got it. I thought, you know what? Not a word was spoken. Not one word was spoken. But I felt that from just the attitude, the atmosphere, and the appearance. So people know, even if we don't say, people know when we turn away, when we shy away, when we're not open, when our heart's closed. So I'm just asking you, take a look inside your heart. Take a look inside your thoughts and see, is there something there that's ready to be looked at, that's inviting you forth? We are not the old South. This is my new mantra. A friend that lives in Oregon sent me this video that's on YouTube. I put it on Facebook. Interestingly, I didn't get a lot of likes. Apparently people don't have time to watch things I post on Facebook. Anyway, that's my rationalization. But here's the video. It's filmed in Montgomery, Alabama. This very nice looking young black man on the streets of Montgomery, and he put up a sign, and I have to say I tried 3 times to read the sign and I didn't ever get it read, but it had something, it said something like this: if you are willing, hug me. And he put a blindfold on. This is called the blind test. He put the blindfold on and he stood there in the middle of civil rights era, I mean not civil rights era, but seat of civil rights in the South, and he stood there with his arms like this. Well, the first thing I saw was a man who was standing at what looked like a bus stop, who was looking this way, who when the guy put his arms up, the man turned like this. That was the first thing. But the second thing was this little woman, kind of short, this guy was kind of tall. She came up and she just put her arms around him and just hugged him. He didn't know who was hugging him. And that was the whole message that he was trying to give. There were a lot of kids who came up and hugged him. And over the period of, I don't know how long they did the video, but over this video, which was about 5 or 6 minutes, there were more people, white people, who hugged him than there were any other color. Then there were a couple of Asians, and there was some mix. And the message is, we are not the old South. We are the new South. And if we see somebody of any color that's another human being, that's a part of our one humanity, can we just hug them? Or at least love them from a distance if you don't want to hug them? Not everybody wants to be hugged by a stranger anyway. But it was a beautiful message, and I believe the message was. And so my posting on Facebook was, here's a video. We are not the old South, at least not all of us. Because that one guy that turned away, that was the only person I saw turn away. There were some people who walked by and didn't bite, I guess you could say, but there were many, many people who did. So I want to leave with this message. I don't know where Delos would have found time to speak today. From the Holy Spirit's interpretation of the New Testament, there's one little sentence in 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Excuse me. When you believe in the world, you make the mistake of acting out your belief in the world. I'm not going to try to interpret that for you, except to say, when we walk in the world, we are what we believe. And other people get a sense of that, whether or not a word is ever spoken or a gesture is ever made. So then I really want to read from 2 Corinthians chapter 13 in the Holy Spirit's interpretation. So before I read, let me tell you, heart is capitalized, mind is capitalized, itself is capitalized, and source is capitalized. You all know what that means, right? It's holy stuff. Your true thoughts are below the thoughts of the world, closer to your heart, because they stem from there. They stem from your truth, and so they are your truth. Listen to your truth and know within who you are. Within the mind, all is one, for there is no separation of any kind. All mind is of one source, so all mind is through its source, which cannot be apart from itself. Love one another, for you are of one mind. In loving one another, you love your truth, and in this love, you are one. And so it is. And may you find the peace of your own truth in your own heart. Good luck.
Very powerful. Very powerful. We're going to go ahead and stand and sing a song. We're going to stand up and do all you can. Start really loud. Debbie does this one. Got it from the back, Debbie. All right, ready? The first one's easy. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la all you can. Last time. Do all you can.
Yay, have a seat. Nicely done, everybody.